Welcome to Entd Newsroom. I'm Kevin Hogan. The White House takes questions on the U.S. seizure of an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, what the Trump administration's priorities are in the Caribbean. And the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, briefs Congress on the ongoing threats facing the United States. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center and the FBI's operations director testify as well. The Trump administration is expelling so-called ghost students from applying for student aid. The administration says it has prevented $1 billion in federal aid fraud. And lawmakers are racing to implement a plan to prevent a spike in health insurance costs for Obamacare recipients. The Senate voting today on proposals from Democrats and Republicans, while several bipartisan solutions are coming out of the White House. Coming out of the House, that is. And Washington State is under a state of emergency following days of heavy rain and flooding. Tens of thousands of residents could face evacuation orders. Bulgaria's government is out. The resignation comes after weeks of mass anti-corruption protests.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem briefed Congress today on the ongoing threats facing the United States. Noem's remarks come after an Afghan national opened fire on two National Guard members in Washington, D.C. last month, killing one and severely wounding another.
The same week, we arrested another Afghan national who came in under the same program. He was planning to carry out a bombing in Fort Worth, Texas. And just last week, just miles away in Washington, D.C., we arrested another Afghan national who also came in under Operation Allies Welcome. That individual provided support to the Islamic State of Iraq and ISIS-K and weapons to his father, who was a commander of a militia group in Afghanistan. Those are only a handful of the challenges that we face and the threats that the Department of Homeland Security stands against every single day. Under President Trump's leadership, DHS is securing our borders, we're restoring the rule of law, and we're protecting the homeland. DHS is eradicating transnational organized crime and the stopping of deadly drugs from continuing to be funneled into our communities. We're ending illegal immigration, returning sanity back to our immigration system, and we're defending against cyber attacks against our critical infrastructure.
National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent and FBI Operations Director Michael Glasheen testified as well. Kent told the House Homeland Security Committee that the Trump administration had made progress against terrorism threats, but Kent said his office had issued a warning on a heightened risk of terror attacks. He added that the Counterterrorism Center had identified 18,000 known and suspected terrorists who entered the U.S. under the Biden administration. Meanwhile, as Noem delivered an opening statement, protesters interrupted her speech. Security then escorted them from the room.
I'd like to introduce them to you.
Disruptions of congressional business is a violation of law, is a criminal offense under federal law. Audience members are advised to take their seats and maintain order. The chairman may now ask Capitol Police to remove and arrest the persons creating the disturbance.
Get ICE off our streets! Stop terrorizing our community! Get ICE off our streets! Stop terrorizing our community! Get ICE off our streets! Stop terrorizing our community!
According to DHS tracking, more than 2.5 million illegal immigrants have left the United States under the Trump administration. The department called it a record-breaking achievement in a year. That figure includes more than 600,000 individuals who were deported and around 1.9 million who have voluntarily self-deported since January. And a federal judge is ordering ICE to release Kilmar Abrego Garcia from custody. Abrego Garcia has been in the spotlight during the Trump administration's deportation surge. U.S. District Judge Paul Oshines says the administration lacks a lawful order to effectuate a third country removal for Abrego Garcia. Her opinion today reads, quote, "Since Abrego Garcia's wrongful detention in El Salvador, he has been redetained, again, without lawful authority. Her order requires Abrego Garcia's immediate release and for the administration to notify the court of his status by 5 p.m. Abrego Garcia is a Salvadoran native who was previously deported to a mega prison in his home country. He was since brought back and is facing human smuggling charges in the U.S. The Trump administration also says Abrego Garcia is part of the violent MS-13 gang. The White House taking questions on the administration's recent military activities in the Caribbean. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt today explaining President Trump's goals.
There are two things that are very important to this administration. Number one, stopping the flow of illegal drugs into the United States of America, which we know has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. The president promised on the campaign trail that he would demolish the foreign terrorist organizations and drug cartels around the world, especially right here in our own hemisphere, and you have seen that he is delivering on that promise. With respect to the oil and what happened yesterday, the Department of Justice requested and was approved for a warrant to seize a vessel because it's a sanctioned shadow vessel known for carrying black market sanctioned oil to the IRGC, which you know is a sanctioned entity.
The White House said the Trump administration is focused on doing many things in the Western Hemisphere and effectuating the president's sanction policy. Meanwhile, Obamacare subsidies are set to expire at the end of the year. That means premiums will hike for millions of Americans. Leavitt said Trump is working with his health care policy team at the White House, as well as Republicans on Capitol Hill, to find a solution.
The president is prepared to take action on health care, and he wants Republicans on the Hill to do the same. As you have seen, Senate Republicans put forth their own legislation earlier this week.
The White House also provided updates on the latest peace negotiations to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Leavitt said Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is continuing to speak with both sides, and that Trump is frustrated with both sides and does not want meetings just for the sake of meeting. And the Senate today rejected competing health care proposals from both sides of the aisle. Both failed to reach the 60-vote threshold required to advance legislation in the Senate. NTD's Melina Wisecup reports.
As part of a promise that was made to Senate Democrats, Senate Majority Leader John Thune is bringing up Democrats' bill for a clean extension of COVID-era tax subsidies for the next 3 years. Now, Republicans are planning to counter this with a bill of their own. They aim to take the money that was originally granted to these Obamacare subsidies and put them into health savings accounts to help Americans pay out-of-pocket health care costs. Listen to what both sides are saying about their proposals.
A clean extension of current tax credits. That's it. No poison pills, no gimmicks, just relief.
The proposal we'll put out there will bring insurance premiums down. It will be fiscally responsible, and it'll get us away from the practice of giving the money all to the insurance companies and put it back in the hands of the patients.
Now, over in the House, Democrats are also pushing for a 3-year extension of enhanced Obamacare subsidies, but this won't even see a vote in the House. Speaker Johnson says this is why.
There's a lot of people who are very concerned about Obamacare and the fact that the subsidies were created by Democrats for COVID-era limited use and they want to be extended. We just can't get Republican votes on that for lots of reasons, not enough of them.
Instead, Republican House leaders are expected to unveil a proposal of their own. It's expected to be similar but slightly different than the Senate Republicans' version. Now, at the same time, there are also bipartisan efforts underway. The most recent one is a discharge petition started by Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. He aims to force the Speaker to hold a vote on extending these enhanced Obamacare subsidies through 2027. His proposal also addresses fraud and tries to rein in some practices of pharmacy benefit managers, that is, the middlemen in the prescription drug supply chain.
I think have merit. Certainly I'm in favor of PBM reform, health savings accounts, association healthcare plans, various other ideas. Are any of those things going to become law and help people by the time of this this cliff that's coming at the end of the year? No.
You'll see us working pretty much around the clock to try to come up with something in a positive way.
But his petition needs 218 lawmakers to force this vote. And if the vote does happen, it's unclear what the support would look like. At this point, there are several Republicans in the House who are pushing for at least a 2-year extension of these enhanced Obamacare subsidies to make more time for other reforms. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Wisecup, NTD News.
Kash Patel confirming that the FBI, DHS, and other agencies were involved in the seizure of an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. He says it was connected to terrorist organizations. In response, the Venezuelan regime called the seizure blatant theft. Tensions are running high between President Trump and Venezuelan regime leader Nicolas Maduro. Trump recently said Maduro's days are numbered. And joining us now is Taylor Hawthorne, visiting fellow at the Independent Women's Forum's Center for American Safety and Security. Taylor, the FBI says the supertanker Skipper carrying Venezuelan oil was used in an illicit shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations. Exactly what role do you think it was playing in that operation?
I first want to just give a big shout out to the 2nd Recon Battalion and the work that they did, and the FBI and the Coast Guard. I think that this forfeiture was really quick. The seizure was quick, and they did a really good and professional job. So I want to give those guys a shout out. I also think that it's hilarious that Maduro is calling this theft when the tanker wasn't even flying under the Venezuelan flag. So I think it's hilarious that he has the audacity to say something like that. But I think this drives home a larger point that I've been trying to prove for a couple of weeks now since this conflict really rose to the surface, is that this has more to do than just our relationship with Venezuela. This really has to do with the relationship that Venezuela has with the IRGC, with Iran, with China, and several of our other adversaries, and the work that they are doing to sponsor terrorism throughout the world that is unfortunately reaching our hemisphere now.
I understand what you're saying. Now, Guyana's maritime authority said on Wednesday that the tanker was falsely flying Guyana's flag. If that's the case, it seems the tanker was trying to fly under the radar. Is that how you're reading this?
Oh, I definitely do. I mean, I think that if Venezuela was being bold about it, then they wouldn't have any good intel agencies of their own. This is a tanker that we have been tracking in a black fleet for quite some time, that has been supporting some proxies of terrorism, that has been getting oil to and from Iran, that has been suspected of supporting China in some of their operations. And we know the relationship that China and Russia have and Iran has. So, I mean, I think that if Venezuela were bold enough to be flying this tanker under their flag, I would have some severe questions.
Well, I understand. That makes sense. Now, in a recent interview with Fox News, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the Venezuelan regime is essentially being used as a transshipment organization for cocaine sourced in Colombia. Is Venezuela playing a lead role in drug trafficking in our Western Hemisphere?
I definitely believe that they are, but I also think that if you're looking at drug trafficking, we really need to focus on Mexico. The picture with Venezuela here is more about transnational terrorism and the relationships that Venezuela and Maduro are choosing to have with some of our foreign adversaries. I mean, I've said from the beginning of this conflict that this is really about putting a spotlight on the United States relationship and strength in the Western Hemisphere, and putting China and other adversaries on notice that it's one thing we're battling you in the East, but if you bring it to the West, we're not going to let our foot off the gas. And it's really kind of flexing our capabilities and our powers, and letting China know that for whatever role they have in this conflict and with Venezuela, that we're watching.
And Taylor, why now? Why is all this happening now? We have a new president in the White House. In terms of all these drug boats being destroyed, in terms of this tanker incident?
I don't think that this is anything that the tankers and the drug boats are anything new. This has been happening. I mean, this one particular vessel is said to have transported over 13 million barrels of oil since 2021. And so this is not something new that's happening. We just finally have an administration in place that is putting the priority of the safety and security of Americans and of the Western Hemisphere at the forefront of their administration's priorities. And so a lot of this seems like, you know, there are more conflicts taking place, and that, you know, the left's narrative is that Trump is involved in bringing more conflicts to the surface. But I think whenever you bring ills to the surface and you start taking care of them and you start dealing with and addressing conflict, it's going to seem like there is more conflict going on. But I think that addressing this conflict is really going to lead to the reduction of conflict overall, and is going to lead to the increase of safety and security for American citizens.
I'm following your logic. Now, it's reported that China is Venezuela's biggest oil buyer. Do you think the Trump administration's actions toward Venezuela will impact the Chinese Communist Party's foreign policy goals?
No. I think they're going to continue doing whatever China wants to do, but I think that at least, you know, Xi and the rest of the Chinese Communist Party or Beijing, whichever way they want to label themselves. I think that at least puts them on notice that President Trump will work with them in many areas, but there are certain lines that they cannot cross. And when it impacts the security of American citizens, this is where the line is.
Okay, and also something important to note here, in a recent interview, Trump didn't give a direct answer on how far he would go to oust Nicolas Maduro, but he said his days are numbered. Where do you see this going?
President Trump will work with anyone. I mean, I think we've seen that since he announced his presidency, 10 years ago, or his candidacy for presidency. He'll work with anyone. But I think he's really getting tired of the hubris of Maduro, because the difference in Maduro and a lot of these other leaders that Trump has been working with, these other leaders seem very level-headed. They seem very clear on what their goals and their initiatives are. Maduro just seems very hubristic, very egotistical, very narcissistic, and very out for himself. I mean, you would see the prospering of Venezuelan citizens if he really cared about his country and he cared about his nation's people. And so Maduro is really unhinged. And I think at a certain point, Trump is going to get to a point with Maduro where he's like, this isn't a dude that I'm going to deal with, and it's not worth bothering with. And he's going to allow whatever the Venezuelan citizens wants to do to kind of take over. So I do think that the president is right. Maduro's days are numbered, whether that is Maduro's choice to self-deselect and find a new home or not is really up to Maduro.
I'm noting all your points, and thank you for coming on. I mean, Venezuela used to be a very wealthy nation, resource rich, and look at it now, but you bring a lot of food for thought to the table. Taylor Hathorn, thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up, Washington State is under a state of emergency following days of heavy rain and flooding. Tens of thousands of residents could face evacuation orders. We'll bring you that coverage when we come back.
With Select Specs £6 specs, you can get 10 pairs of prescription glasses for just £60. That includes frames, prescription lenses, and delivery free to your door. And what makes this really special is each pair can have a different prescription. So it's glasses for everyone. SelectSpecs.com/£6. 10 frames, all with prescription lenses and anti-scratch coating for just £60. You don't get that on the high street. Right now you can save an extra 5% with offer code CG5OFF.
Food. It fuels our bodies, nourishes our spirits, and brings us together. Because we all need nutritious food to thrive.
Food gives me energy and it also helps me focus.
But not everyone knows where their next meal is coming from. And 1 in 7 people in America face hunger. It's tougher than ever for too many of us. But the simple truth is, ending hunger is possible, and it starts with you. Call or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, to help families in your community facing hunger. Feeding America works from coast to coast with partner food banks, food pantries, and meal programs. Your monthly gift delivers food where it's needed most, puts fresh food on the table, and helps kids have healthy meals all year round, even when school is out.
You can see the difference with the kids when they're full. Food is everything.
Please call the number on your screen or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org. Give $19 a month. Your first gift can double in impact. And we'll send you this free canvas grocery bag as a reminder of how you're helping to end hunger for good.
When it comes down to it, it's about taking care of your family first and the loved ones that you need to provide for.
Food donations help me tremendously, and I'm very grateful for the food bank.
I have hope. The simple truth is, ending hunger in America is possible. You can help make it happen. The need is urgent. Call or go online now to helpfeedingamerica.org, and your gift can double in impact.
Looking for the perfect gift this season? Get a new recliner from Mathis Home during the holiday savings event. They have hundreds of recliners from top brands starting at just $199. Take your pick. These genuine Lazy Boy recliners are holiday priced at just $485. It's your chance to save on the comfort and quality Lazy Boy is famous for, just $4.85. With our incredible selection, you're sure to find the recliner just right for you. They're all in stock, ready for fast free delivery during the holiday savings event at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
Hi again. The Trump administration says it has a backup plan to keep its global tariffs in place if the Supreme Court rules against them. Trade Representative Jameson Greer says the White House could rely on other statutory authorities if its use of emergency powers is struck down. Greer refused to disclose the backup plan, saying he is under strict instructions not to reveal it. According to a report by the Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, the government has taken in nearly $200 billion in tariff revenue so far. President Trump says the tariff authority is vital for national security and called the current system swift and very powerful. The Supreme Court ruling is expected in the coming months. $1 billion in federal student aid saved from scammers. That's how much the Trump administration says it prevented from getting into the wrong hands since January. The Department of Education says it implemented enhanced fraud controls targeting AI bots and so-called ghost students. College officials and cybersecurity experts believe ghost students are powered by AI bots or run by criminal networks. They use real Americans' personal information to enroll and get financial aid. Other scams involve using the personal information of people who have died. The department said it's cracking down on fraud by heightening the verification process for first-time applicants. The Indiana Senate today voting on whether to redraw Indiana's congressional map in the GOP's favor. Here's more.
It remains unclear whether the map has enough support to pass the chamber, where Republicans hold a 40-10 majority. Some Republican senators have expressed opposition to the redistricting, including Senate Leader Roderick Bray. The proposed map would likely give Republicans a 9-0 sweep of the state's U.S. House seats. The new boundaries would reshape the two districts currently held by Democrats. President Trump has threatened to support electoral challengers to any Republican senators who refuse to vote in favor of the map. Democrats only need to flip 3 Republican seats in the 435-member House next year to win a majority.
Washington state is under a state of emergency today. Torrential rain has pushed rivers over their banks, leaving residents trapped in floodwaters. Tens of thousands could face evacuation orders. Here's more on the heavy rain that is devastating parts of the Pacific Northwest.
Officials are advising about 100,000 people to evacuate certain areas of Washington state. An atmospheric river is causing heavy rainfall, flooding, and mudslides.
The situation is extremely serious. The next few days are going to be very critical.
The governor says he declared a state of emergency since some rivers could reach historic levels. Video shows water rescues in multiple areas.
I found myself stuck on a little piece of land out there with my 4 cats. And had to wade through water up to my chest in order to get to dry land. It was very cold and very swift.
In south central Washington, shelters are caring for some rescuees.
So what we're doing right now is we're providing obviously shelter beds, meals, dry clothes, a place for their pets.
Officials say at least 2 major mudslides have blocked parts of I-90. This Seattle area gas station is damaged.
A lot of sand.
And in northwest Washington, sandbag volunteers are shoring up an old dike system along the Skagit River.
At a time like this, it's all hands on deck.
Forecasters say dangers will continue into Friday.
The impact on Washingtonians is significant now, and it's going to be significant in the coming days, and that is an understatement.
The suspect charged with killing Charlie Kirk appeared in court today. His lawyers are pushing to further limit media access in the high-profile criminal case. The judge just ruled that the media and public will be excluded from part of the trial in a closed session. Attorneys for 22-year-old Tyler Robinson say they're concerned that the swarm of media attention could interfere with his right to a fair trial. According to the attorneys, Robinson's pretrial publicity reached as far as the White House, with President Trump calling for the death penalty. The attorneys in the Utah County Sheriff's Office have asked Judge Tony Graff to ban cameras in the courtroom. A coalition of national and local news organizations is fighting to preserve media access in the case. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, has called for full transparency. She says people deserve to have cameras in the courtroom. The judge said that the media and public will be allowed back in for the other half of the hearing. The evidentiary hearing in the Luigi Mangione case resumed this morning. Before the proceedings began, a defense attorney placed a lengthy objection on the record. Our reporter Arlene Richards was in the courtroom with the latest on that objection and witness testimony.
The defense got up this morning and first thing said that they had been having discussions with the judge over these last few days about certain items of evidence that could be provided to the media. And she said that there was a video which she called Exhibit 3A. And she said the video was something that was not used in the courtroom with any of the witnesses. It was never shown in the courtroom. And in their discussions, the defense had said they didn't want that video to be released to the media. Well, on the anniversary of the day that they had arrested Luigi Mangione, that video was released. And she's saying that it was unlawfully released, that the prosecution released it because they wanted to discriminate or prejudice her client's defense, and that she wanted the judge to do something about that. She said that, you know, her client already has been in custody. He's been treated unfairly, and now they're putting out videos that weren't supposed to be put out. And the judge responded that he was going to treat this video like any other video. He said that at the time of trial, there will be instructions given to the jury, and that he didn't see where this video was any different from the other. But the thing is, she's placed this on the record so that if after the trial he is convicted, she can get the court transcripts and bring this up on appeal. And on appeal, she can say to the appellate court that she believes that the judge did not provide the proper ruling for her objection. All along, the defense has been saying that these police officers in Altoona, Pennsylvania, are a small outfit. They're a small police force. They don't get much action in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and that they responded above and beyond how they normally would have responded to an individual who showed a fake ID. She said that, you know, initially from the time that the two officers came into the McDonald's and thereafter when several more officers came in, which amounted to about 13 officers total, her client was in custody. He was essentially in custody because he couldn't move. He couldn't leave. He couldn't get up. He couldn't reach his belongings. He was essentially in custody, all because he provided a fake ID. Now, she's saying that this prejudiced her client. He was not able to access his items in his backpack, and that no other person that has provided a fake ID would have been treated this way. And she feels as though they violated a lot of his constitutional rights. And because they violated a lot of his constitutional rights, a lot of this evidence should be thrown out of the case, as well as statements that he made.
Coming up, Bulgaria's government has heard the calls from protesters and is handing in its resignation. Stay with us for that coverage.
My name's Stacy. I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020.
We were adopted in 2019.
And we were adopted in 2021.
We had a house, and it sounds crazy, but it wasn't a home. The one thing that Jake and Emma brought is it became a home.
When I met Dakota, he had just turned 14.
You weren't there for the first this and the first that. I missed the first words, but we got a lot of other firsts.
Watching her say, oh my God, I cannot believe I got my license. And she's like, I passed. And I'm like, girl.
See them grow. It is.
They chose to love us. They didn't have to. They chose us. Family.
You and you. Kids in the middle. What I thought was a complete life was nowhere near complete, but it is now.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. repeat. It always came back.
Dad! Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Nice.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
My graduation was something I will never forget. People like you and me sometimes may have doubts in ourselves, but I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. The Federal Reserve has approved a quarter-point rate cut and a move Fed Chair Jerome Powell called a close call. President Trump says the cut was too small as he weighs potential replacements for Powell when his term ends in May. Here's more on that story.
The Federal Reserve has approved 9-3, a quarter-point interest rate cut at its final meeting of 2025. The new target range is between 3.5 and 3.75%.
Conditions in the labor market appear to be gradually cooling, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals, in light of the balance of risks to employment and inflation, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by a quarter percentage point.
It was a decision marked by unusually sharp disagreement inside the central bank. Officials who opposed the move either pushed for a deeper reduction or wanted no cut at all, reflecting widening divisions over how to balance slowing employment with persistent inflation. Chair Jerome Powell described the decision as a close call, saying he could have made a case for either side. The Fed also revised its outlook, projecting slower inflation, slightly stronger economic growth, and an unemployment rate holding steady at 4.4%.
We are well positioned to determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks.
While the Fed emphasized caution, President Trump criticized the cut as too small, arguing that higher rates are restraining economic growth.
He did a rather, I would say, a rather small number that could have been doubled, at least doubled. And we have to get a mindset that when a country is doing well, you don't want to kill the growth. That's what they're doing. They kill the growth.
The president could name a new Fed chair as soon as later this month to replace Powell when his term ends in May. Trump said he was meeting with former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh. White House Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair told Fox News Wednesday the president has been very clear that he wants lower interest rates.
He wants people to have access to capital so they can buy their cars, they can buy their homes, we can get the economy moving. This is really just a result of, them moving too slowly around there.
The Fed now turns its attention to its next meeting in late January.
And with us now is William Flagg, founder and CEO of the American Conservative Values ETF. William, is the Fed's the third rate cut in a row? Where are Americans likely to feel it?
Well, in the very short-term interest rates, the Fed policy really is just the overnight rate set by the Federal Reserve to other banks. So the long end of the interest rate curve is set by the bond market. So things like mortgages and longer-term loans, you won't feel it right away. Where it might be felt, that likely will be felt right away, is in lower interest rates on deposit accounts, checking savings accounts. And the stock market generally, takes it as a positive, although the reaction is somewhat muted this time.
Understood, William. Can you give us a big picture about the economy in light of this rate cut? President Trump is saying that the economy is going the right direction. He wants a bigger one. How are you reading all this?
I think it's actually pretty complicated currently. We have a divergence between Wall Street and Main Street. Wall Street, as you know, the stock market is at very near all-time highs. Corporate profits, particularly in the largest corporations, are robust, and yet we're seeing a softening labor market and inflation that's been persistent. So it puts the Fed with its dual mandate between maximizing employment and minimizing inflation in a difficult position.
Good. In just one sentence, would you say it was a good call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think the 25 basis points was the right call.
Understood. Yeah. Now, new data today suggests that the average home prices fell recently for the first time in 2 years. Is this likely rate cut? Is that likely to accelerate that trend?
Well, it should actually lower interest rates. If it were to feed through to the long end of the yield curve, should result in lower mortgage rates and improve affordability. But I don't think we're going to have that impact in the short term.
Okay. Now, Trump, he will pick a new Federal Reserve chairman next year once Powell's term ends. Do you expect a major change at the Fed when that happens?
Well, I think we've all seen the short list of candidates. I mean, he's definitely going to favor a dove, somebody who will err on the side of lower interest rates when the decision comes.
And if the rates were lowered, I mean, of course, the whole premise is that you lower the rates when inflation cools off a bit, you let people, continue to grow their businesses and invest. What kind of projection can you predict for the country if that inevitably happens? I mean, do they have to worry about something? I mean, is there a soft landing that they might have to consider?
Yeah, I mean, I think the soft landing is the most likely scenario. I don't see much change in Fed policy next year. Really could be only 25 basis points cut for the whole next year. But I think the economy, although there are concerns, is in a very strong position.
Well, yeah, and let's go back to one of your previous points, Main Street versus Wall Street. Now, there's debate over the strength of the economy, but the stock market, it's relentless, as you pointed out. Now, the Dow Jones is set to hit a new record today. Do you expect that to continue through 2026?
I think we'll have a positive year next year. I don't think it'll be as strong as this year.
And why is that?
It just right now, definitely companies seem to be overvalued.
And what does that mean?
A case could be made for that.
Specifically, like just for the layman's terms here.
Oh, just the large tech companies, their price is discounting, increase in their future earnings that's, at pretty high levels.
Okay. Now, affordability, that's the big buzzword, and wage growth. These are topics right now that everyone's looking at. Interesting data just out shows that the U.S. trade deficit just shrank to its lowest level since 2020. It suggests Trump's tariff strategy is having an impact. If this trend continues, how will Americans feel it?
Well, I think that would be a good trend. I mean, things that would cause it to continue are, Trump's policies of trying to bring manufacturing and businesses back here onshore, and the tariffs are helping in that regard. So it's definitely a positive bit of news.
Well, a lot to think about here on the economy. Thanks for breaking all this down. William Flagg, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And next, after weeks of mass protests, Bulgaria's government is resigning. There has been a wave of demonstrations over corruption and economic policies. In response, Prime Minister Rosen Zelyaskov confirmed that his government would step down in a televised address. He said the coalition met and said this was the decision they must responsibly make. The announcement came just minutes before Parliament was set to vote on a no-confidence motion. And the resignation comes after less than a year in power. Since Bulgaria joined the European Union in 2007, it remains the poorest and most corrupt member state. It has held 7 national elections in the past 4 years, the most recent just over a year ago in October. This also comes as Bulgaria is set to join the Eurozone starting the first of the year, a move many of the protesters support. And a new House bill takes a tougher line on China. Congress is moving forward with more restrictions in a defense authorization bill that would deny Beijing investments in highly sensitive sectors. It would also reduce U.S. reliance on Chinese biotech companies.
On this vote, the yeas are 312, the nays are 112. The bill is passed without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The bill was approved yesterday by the House. It includes a provision to scrutinize American investments in China that could help develop technologies to boost Chinese military power. It passed by a vote of 312 to 112. The bill would also prohibit government money from being used for equipment and services from blacklisted Chinese biotechnology companies. The National Defense Authorization Act would also boost U.S. support for Taiwan. In tensions in Asia, Tokyo says U.S. nuclear-capable bombers flew over the Sea of Japan alongside Japanese fighter jets yesterday. The show of force follows Chinese and Russian drills in the seas and skies around Japan and South Korea Tuesday. Japan's defense ministry said today the two countries reaffirmed their strong resolve to prevent any attempt to change the status quo by force. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaishi warned last month that Tokyo could respond to any Chinese military action against Taiwan. That also threatened Japan's security. And on Capitol Hill yesterday, several organizations took part in the China Human Rights Fair, showcasing the atrocities of the Chinese regime. Our Washington correspondent Jack Bradley has this story.
In China, we have people whose rights are being violated.
The Chinese Communist Party's human rights abuses on full display here at the China Fair on Capitol Hill. Now, many people sharing their personal experiences about what it's like to suffer the atrocities under the Chinese Communist Party. Let's take a look.
My parents, both of them, has been arrested and detained to the sentenced to many times to the jail.
Lydia Wang is a practitioner of Falun Dafa, also known as Falun Gong, a spiritual meditation based on truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. It was introduced to the public in 1992, but in 1999, the CCP launched a brutal persecution against the practice due to its popularity and moral teachings. Wang's parents were immediately targeted. Her father was arrested and subjected to forced labor and tortured to permanent disability, later dying of his injuries.
My father came out from the jail and her health condition is very bad. And soon after, my father passed away.
Her mother was arrested for the 11th time in 2022, all because she was passing out information flyers about Falun Dafa. She's currently serving a 4-year prison sentence.
Falun Gong practitioners who I have known for a very long time simply for exercising their religious freedom. Chinese government are afraid of them because there is very significant number, and so we just need to keep up with our pressure.
And perhaps the most horrific is the CCP's use of forced organ harvesting.
Forced organ harvesting is something very unique to China. The Chinese regime is the only regime in the world that's harvesting organs from its own citizens.
It's primarily targeting Falun Dafa practitioners, but also Muslim Uyghurs, Tibetans, and Christians are subjected to the practice, killing them on demand in the process.
The Chinese government illegally imprisons these prisoners of conscience, and they have a data bank where they match the organs, they test their blood. These often go to high-ranking Chinese communist officials, but really to anybody in the world who's willing to pay.
Some people say, that sounds so terrible, why isn't it a headline every day? Against the backdrop of Chinese government propaganda, quite literally billions of dollars spent putting out news in every language as well.
One of the many bills to address this is the Falun Gong Protection Act. It passed the House earlier this year and is awaiting a vote in the Senate. One central message that we're hearing here at the China Fair is that it doesn't stop here. There needs to be more action taken from Congress to address these human rights abuses still happening in China today. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Jack Bradley, NTD News.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has vowed to return to Venezuela. She said she will hand her Nobel Peace Prize to the mothers whose children have fled the regime of socialist leader Nicolas Maduro.
I am very hopeful Venezuela will be free and we will turn a country into a beacon of hope. I believe that our experience in Venezuela conveys to the world a testimony that certainly in order to have peace, you require democracy. Democracy is the system that enables peace in a society. But you cannot have democracy without freedom.
Speaking at a press conference in Oslo today, Machado said the Maduro regime was being supported by totalitarian regimes and terrorist groups. When asked if she would support a U.S. invasion of her home country, she said her country had already been invaded by actors such as Russian and Iranian agents and drug cartels. Machado went into hiding in 2024 after Maduro's re-election in a vote widely seen as rigged. Her daughter accepted the Nobel Peace Award in her place yesterday. Machado ultimately surfaced in Oslo after secretly leaving Venezuela by boat, her first public appearance in nearly a year. Stay with us. Instacart shoppers might be surprised to find grocery prices that are different from what their neighbors pay. A study found that the same brand of eggs could cost more or less based on price experiments used at some stores. We'll have that and more for you after the break.
I'm Jonathan Lawson. If you're 50 to 85, I have an important message about security. Write down the number on your screen so you can call when I finish. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. This is a lock for your life insurance, a rate lock that guarantees that once you're insured, your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. But be careful. Many policies you see do not have one. But you can get a lifetime rate lock from Colonial Penn. Call this number to learn more. This plan was designed with a rate lock for people on a fixed income who want life insurance that fits their budget and is simple to get. Coverage options start at $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day. Act now, and your rate will be locked in for life. It will never increase, guaranteed. This is lifelong coverage that can never be canceled as long as you pay your premiums, guaranteed. And your acceptance is guaranteed, with no health questions. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Call for your information kit and read about this rate lock for yourself. You'll also get a free beneficiary planner. Both are free with no obligation. Don't miss out. Call for information, then decide. Read about the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. Don't wait. Call this number now.
Call now and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record important information and your final wishes, and it's yours free just for calling. So don't wait. Call 1-800-357-4821 for your free information. That's 1-800-357-4821. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-357-4821. That's 1-800-357-4821. 1-800-357-4821. Call now.
Picture this, the heart of Manhattan, full of energy, movement, and life. Now imagine bringing that same vitality into your home with trusted health insights for your body, mind, and soul. Every week, Vital Signs dives into health issues that matter the most. The foods that strengthen your immune system, the exercises that keep you moving, the mindfulness practices that calm your mind, plus expert advice from doctors and health leaders you can trust. This isn't just another health show. It's real insight designed to keep you informed, inspired, and in motion. So whether you're starting your day with focus or winding down with balance, Vital Signs brings health and vitality straight into your living room.
Good to have you back with us. Australia's teen social media ban went into effect yesterday. Officials are now asking major platforms to report how many accounts they have deactivated. Authorities will reveal the platform's responses within 2 weeks. The platforms will be required to provide monthly updates for 6 months. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese spoke to some young people today, saying the rollout was always going to be bumpy, but would ultimately save lives. Here's more.
Hello, hi, Anthony. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese visited a Canberra school on Thursday to speak with students, a day after the country's world-first social media ban on under-16s went live. And here's what some of the young people had to say.
Snapchat's been cancelled, but I never really used it anyway, and I was honestly planning to get rid of it, so it probably helped me to
make that decision.
Yeah, make the decision quicker.
I personally think it'll bring
closer friends together easier, because rather than talking about things that are happening online, things that are actually happening in their lives.
Despite the optimism, cracks in the rollout showed quickly. Just a day after the ban began, social media feeds were flooded with posts from accounts claiming to belong to under-16s. One comment on the Prime Minister's own TikTok account read, quote, "I'm still here. Wait until I can vote." Albanese has hit back at those bragging about evading the ban, warning that such posts only help companies identify and remove them. Effective Wednesday, the landmark law forces platforms including TikTok, Instagram, YouTube to ban under-16s or risk fines of up to $33 million. The move sparked strong reactions around the world. U.S. Republican Senator Josh Hawley praised it, while countries like France, Denmark, and Malaysia have signaled they may follow suit. But criticism was swift too. Meta and UNICEF cautioned over the ban, warning the law could push teens to less regulated parts of the internet. There were also early signs of people finding workarounds, including so-called virtual private networks or VPNs, which can hide a user's location. Free VPN provider Windscribe reported a 400% surge in Australian installations in the 24 hours after the law took effect. Even some Australian media outlets aimed at younger audiences say they're barely feeling the impact. Teenager Leonardo Puglisi is the founder of 6 News Australia.
I know there's been some other accounts that I've seen that have reported that they had a sudden drop-off of, 1,000, 1,300, 1,500, whatever, overnight. But I think the fact that there isn't major drop-offs elsewhere probably does reflect the fact that many young people who are supposedly going to be caught up in this ban are able to get around it, which has been one of the big problems with it.
Retail stores have long experimented with pricing, and this may also be happening at grocery stores that partner with delivery apps. One study found that people who use Instacart were charged different prices for the same groceries from the same store. NTD's David Lamb has the details.
The nonprofit Consumer Reports and Groundwork Collaborative have found that some people are paying different prices for the same items on Instacart. The months-long investigation says that identical items on the Instacart grocery app could vary as much as 23% in cost from one person to the next. Researchers found that basket totals varied by an average of about 7% for the exact same items from the exact same locations at the exact same time. For example, one of the results in Washington, D.C., a dozen eggs sold for 5 different prices, $3.99, $4.28, ranging up to $4.79 depending on the user. The report says that Instacart uses AI-based experiments to test prices by charging different amounts for identical items. More than 400 participants were part of the study, and they shopped for identical baskets of goods from Safeway and Target stores. Target says it has no business relationship with Instacart. In response, Instacart says it uses Target's publicly displayed prices and adds an additional amount to offset operating and tech costs. According to the report, Instacart has said price differences between customers would be negligible. Instacart stated, "These limited short-term and randomized tests help retail partners learn what matters most to consumers and how to keep essential items affordable," and that only 10 of its retail partners are testing prices, quote, "just as retailers have long tested prices in their physical stores." NTD tried comparing the prices of eggs and noodles on 3 different devices from 2 different people on a laptop, Android phone, and iPhone, but the prices appeared to be the same as of Wednesday afternoon. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Mexico City's main avenue is now awash in red. The country is showcasing one of its most famous contributions to Christmas, the bright poinsettia flower. A poinsettia grower explains the process behind the Christmas tradition.
The poinsettia is a traditional plant for the Christmas season. It takes an 8-month process to grow. We work for 8 months to reach the blossom on Christmas Eve so that people can take to their homes a flower that impresses with the December red and white colors that represent us and Christmas Eve.
Esta planta es un símbolo para todo el mundo.
The flower is a symbol for the world because it conveys love for Christmas, love for what we want and what we believe in. I think that if you put one of these plants in your home, you'll feel the warmth and love this Mexican plant gives.
The Library of Congress says the bright red poinsettias date back to the colonial era when Franciscan friars used the colorful plant to decorate altars. But it wasn't until the 19th century that the flower became known outside Mexico after the first U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Joel Poinsett, sent samples back to Philadelphia. Today, millions of poinsettias are sold during the Christmas season, and they can be seen everywhere in homes, businesses, and public areas. A rare violin is set to go under the hammer in Paris next Tuesday. It's expected to fetch over $2 million. The violin is on display at Art Cultural Auction House. It was made in the 1720s by a famous Italian luthier. The list of famous musicians who have played the violin to be auctioned is not known, but the auction house said it featured a rich past and an exceptional tone.
Guarneri del Jesus violins are the must-have for violins that could exist in the world. We know Stradivarius violins well. We know that for Stradivariuses, only a limited number of violins have been made. There were around 750. For Guarneri del Jesus, it's even rarer than Stradivarius's. Only 150 have been recorded in the world.
One of the most recent violins by the same maker to sell on auction fetched over $4 million in 2022. And coming up, the Treasury Department sanctions 3 relatives of Venezuelan regime leader Nicolas Maduro. More on the Trump administration's pressure campaign on the socialist regime after the break.
That truly matters for each and every one of us. This is what you've been waiting for. See it at least once in your lifetime. Shen Yun. Get tickets now. ShenYun.com.
I trod on my glasses yesterday, and I had to pay up front for a new pair that I can't even pick up for another 10 days. So I looked for another way, and I found Select Specs. I ordered online. My new glasses just arrived this morning, and I can pay over the next few weeks. This is the way to buy glasses.
See now, pay later with Select Specs. Next day delivery and deferred payment options, only at selectspecs.com.
All throughout your home, appliances and systems just wait for the worst time to break down and leave you with expensive repairs. Unless you have a plan from Choice Home Warranty.
All home appliances and systems have a breakdown clock, and when it expires, it will cost hundreds and potentially even thousands of dollars to fix or replace. That's why every homeowner should have a plan with Choice Home Warranty, like I do. For a low monthly fee, a Choice Home Warranty plan will cover your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, appliances, and more. Don't let an unexpected repair wreck your budget. With Choice Home Warranty, that covered repair is fixed or replaced for you.
Choice Home Warranty has been a great company to work with, and they've taken care of us. I would suggest anybody who lives in a home not to be in a home without them.
Avoid the ticking clock of home appliances and systems breaking down with a plan from Choice Home Warranty. Call now to get your first month free. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll give you $120 off your first year of coverage. That's $200 in total savings.
With a nationwide network of over 25,000 technicians, I don't worry about how my next breakdown will be handled. With a click of a button, my claim is filed, and Choice Home Warranty starts the clock. They do the legwork, hiring the right technician and handling the cost of covered repairs and replacements. And check this out. For a limited time, you can get 1 month of coverage free. Did you hear me? Free. You can't beat that deal with a sledgehammer. But hurry, this offer is ticking away. Once the clock hits 0, poof, it's gone.
Don't fear the breakdown clock. Get a plan from Choice Home Warranty and get round-the-clock money-saving protection you can count on. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll give you $120 off your first year of coverage, plus get your first month free. This offer won't last long.
Get your home protected. Call now.
Don't wait